Hi, everybody. This is Sebastian Pérez reporting from Rio at International AIDS Society 2026. I am joined by Jerika Lamb and Jennifer Cocohoba to talk about their poster presentation on barriers and facilitators to pharmacy-based HIV PrEP. And I was wondering if you can start a little bit with talking about the background and maybe need for this intervention now.
Yes, hi everyone. So, the purpose of this study is just to evaluate whether pharmacists in California are prescribing PrEP under Senate Bill 159 and 339. And basically, this is a two-phase project. The first phase was looking at pharmacist perspectives, and this is the second phase that we are presenting here in Rio, and it's evaluating the patient's perspective on how do they feel about receiving PrEP from pharmacists. And it is a mixed method study. We have a sample size of 16 patients on PrEP, and this is located mainly in Southern California. And what their responses include that they feel comfortable receiving PrEP from their primary medical providers. Many of them are aware of PrEP from their PrEP navigators and also from close friends and social media. And when asked whether they would be comfortable in receiving PrEP from pharmacists in California, they're still not very comfortable. They're also very honest about not expressing being unaware of the legislation that allows pharmacists to prescribe PrEP. And so I'm going to hand this over to Dr. Cocohoba to talk more about the policy.
I think this is a key example of where sometimes when you make policy to make things easier, it's just the beginning. So we are now, since 2020, the passage of SB 159 and 339, subsequently after that, to allow pharmacists to furnish PrEP in California, so expanding the scope of practice for pharmacists. Sometimes opening the door isn't quite enough, as we're learning that it may take additions to policy and practice to really help this original policy come to its most effective form possible. It's the classic example of if you build it, will they come? But building takes many parts. So I think both Dr. Lam and I view the policies that were initially enacted, 159 and 339, as important first steps to recognizing pharmacists are quite capable of expanding access to PrEP, and now recognizing some of the logistical challenges that are still standing in the way. For example, offering pharmacists adequate reimbursement to conduct these services, spreading the word about these policies so that people are even aware that they can access PrEP from a pharmacy. So these are just the beginning steps. I think there's plenty more work to do, and research like this helps us figure out what those gaps are so we can figure out what is the next step. Where do we attack next? Where do we amend policies or enhance policies to again really help us reach that goal of increasing access to PrEP?
Yes, so in conclusion, what we found out is, as what Dr. Kokohoba has mentioned, there's still much more work needed, and it is to increase awareness not only within the urban areas, but also in the remote areas of California, and also to speak with insurance payers to get them to the table to recognize that pharmacists are medical providers and they need to be reimbursed for testing and for prescribing or furnishing PrEP and PEP.
Thank you both so much. We really appreciate all of your work.